Welcome friends, hope you are doing well. Today in this video I am going to describe you about the kingdom fungi, which is a part of the chapter 2, that is the biological classification. Before that, if you are new to my channel, please hit the bell icon and subscribe to my channel. You must have seen fungus on your stale food, haven't you? It feels so disgusting and yucky, isn't it? But you know that fungi have a kingdom of their own. We are going to learn about them in this chapter. We will look at the characteristics and the classification of the fungi later on. First of all, you must know what is a fungi. Fungi is a eukaryotic organism that includes microorganisms such as yeast, molds, and mushrooms. These organisms are classified under the kingdom fungi. The organisms found in the kingdom fungi contain a cell wall and are omnipresent. They are classified as heterotrophs among the living organisms. This is the introduction. The science dealing with the study of the fungi is called mycology. Almost all the fungi have a filamentous structure except the yeast cells. They can be either single-celled or multicellular organism. Fungi consist of long thread-like structure called a hyphae. These hyphae together form a mesh-like structure called the mycelium. Fungi possess a cell wall which is made up of chitin and polysaccharides. The cell wall comprises of protoplast, which is differentiated into other cell parts such as the cell membrane, cytoplasm, cell organelles, and nuclei. The nucleus is dense, clear with chromatin threads. The nucleus is surrounded by a nuclear membrane. This is a brief history about the fungus. The knowledge of the fungi to the mankind dates back to the prehistoric times. Clausius in 1601 may be regarded as the earliest writers to describe fungi. Boyne also included account of the known fungal forms in his book is called Pinax Theriatic Botanica. The first systemic account of the fungi came from the prior Antonio Micheli, who wrote the Nova Plantarum Genera. The fungi are eukaryotic, non-vascular, non-motile, heterotrophic organisms. They may be unicellular or filamentous. They reproduce by the means of spores. Fungi exhibit the phenomenon of alteration of generation. Fungi lack chlorophyll and hence cannot perform photosynthesis. Fungi store their own food in the form of starch. Biosynthesis of chitin occurs in fungi. The nuclei of the fungi is very small, and during mitosis the nuclear envelope is not dissolved. The fungi have no embryonic stage. They develop from the spores. The mode of reproduction is sexual or asexual. The fungi are parasitic and can infect the host. The fungi produce a chemical called the pheromone, which leads to the sexual reproduction in fungi such as mushrooms, molds, and yeast. As you know, the most fungi are multicellular eukaryotes, but a few are unicellular like yeast. Fungi are non-motile. Most of them are heterotrophic and consume on the organic matter. They lack chlorophyll. Those that obtain nourishment from the non-living or dead host are called the saprophytes. And on the other hand, those they obtain nourishment from the living host are called parasites. Most fungi are the decomposers that produce powerful digestive enzymes that they introduced into their immediate environment to break their organic matter into down states. They can destroy the damaged and stored foods and goods. They can damage the live timber. In partnership with bacteria, fungi are considered the earth's decomposers. In the vegetative condition, the fungus body is so called the thallus, also called the mycelium. The mycelium is the food absorbing portion of the fungal body. The mycelium is actually a network of filaments called the hyphae. There are two kinds of hyphae, septate and coniocytic or non-septate. And what is septate? The hyphae that are divided into two successive compartments by cross walls or septum. The coniocytic is the hyphae that are continuous and are without the cross walls. Unlike the plant cells, fungal cell walls contain chitin rather than the cellulose, as present in the exoskeleton of the arthropods. The energy reserves of the fungi is not starch like the plants, but it is glycogen like the animals. The reproduction, as told earlier, is by motile or non-motile spores that may be produced sexually or asexually. There are some uses of fungi such as baking, cheese production, brewing, and winemaking. There are approximately 200 species that are edible and are 70 poisonous species of the fungi. Fungi include all over 80,000 species. Fungi are found in a wide variety and are adapted in dark and moist environments. The mycology is the study of fungi, and a mycologist is one who studies mycology. Now, the classification of the fungi. The classification is based on the mode of nutrition and based on spore formation. On the basis of nutrition, they are divided into saprophytic, parasitic, symbiotic. I will come to this later on. And based on spore formation, those are most important and are Zygomycetes, Ascomycetes, and Basidiomycetes and Deuteromycetes. This is a detailed chart about the classification of the kingdom fungi, consisted of the subkingdoms such as Myxomycota. Myxomycota consisted of slime molds now excluded from the fungi and are placed under the protista. The slime molds lack cell walls. Slime molds possess flagellated cells at some time of their life cycle. However, we will follow the classification scheme provided by Dr. Williams' Lab Manual 4th edition and include slime molds in the kingdom fungi. Slime molds are the important decomposers in the woodlands. The vegetative state of slime molds is mobile and amoeboid. In the division Euchomycota or Mycelium septae, the divisions are Deuteromycota and Ascomycota and Basidiomycota. We will describe these kingdoms in more clearly. Phycomycetes. We can find this in aquatic environments, okay, and on decaying wood and the moist damp places as an obligate parasites on the plant. The mycelium is aseptic and coniocytic both. The asexual reproduction takes place by zoospores or by apollonospores. These are non-motile. Zoospores are motile, okay. If the gametes are similar in morphology, these are called isogamous, or if dissimilar, they are called angiogamous. The examples are mucor and rhizophores. The characteristics are like they reproduce bisexually, like the green algae, and they are approximately 1050 species. Some are parasites of the soil protozoans. Many, like rhizophores, live on wood, especially bakery goods like the breads. Rhizophores or mucor are the cosmopolitan and saprophytic fungus living on the dead organic matter. Rhizophores stolonifera occurs very frequently on the moist bread. Hence, they are also called black bread mold. Albuco is a member of the Phycomycetes. It is an obligate parasite and grows in the intracellular spaces of the host tissues, and it is parasitic mainly on the members of the family Cruciferae, Compositae, Amaranthacea, Convolucii. The disease caused by this fungus, albugo, is the white rust or white blisters. The most common are the well-known species is Albugo candida. It attacks the members of the mustard family known as Cruciferae. Coming to the class Ascomycetes. It is a class where the Ascomycetes are called the sac fungi because of these sac-like structures. They are unicellular or multicellular. They are saprophytic, decomposers, parasitic, or coprophilous. Some examples include the Aspergillus, Claviceps, and Neurospora. There are about more than 50,000 species in this category. The structure is like a sac. This is why they are called sac-like fungi. The mycelium is branched and septate, and asexual spores are conidia produced by conidiophores. These are the special reason behind they are called sac fungi is that they bear 8 spores called the ascophores in that sac-like hyphae called the ascus, and the fruiting body are called the ascophores, and the fruiting bodies are called ascoscarps. The uprooting body is the reproductive structure where the spores are produced and released, and the fertile layer of uprooting body is called hymenium. The members of this group are responsible for a large number of plant diseases. Two are diseases that are called extinction or near extinction of the American chestnut. Diseases that is causing the American elm is to disappear in forests of the US. Examples include pizza yeast. And what is yeast? Coming to the yeast, Antony von Leeuwenhoek in 1680 first described yeast. Yeast is non-mycelial or unicellular, which is very small and either spherical or oval in shape. Individual cells are colorless, but the colonies may appear white, red, brown, creamy, or yellow. Yeast reproduces by vegetative or asexual and sexual methods, molds, mildews, and penicillium. Another example sort of its food value is a morel or the genus Morchella. Local names for the Morchella include offal and wood chickens. Yeast are different from most of the fungi as they are not composed of hyphae and are unicellular. However, they produce an ascus when they reproduce sexually. The class Basidiomycetes. Commonly known as Basidiomycetes are called mushrooms called as bracket fungi. Okay. They grow in soil or logs or tree stumps or as a parasite. The mycelium is branched and septate, and vegetative reproduction takes place by fragmentation. The sex organs are absent, but the plasmogamy is brought about by fusion of the two vegetative somatic cells of the different strains, which gives rise to basidium arranged in the fruiting bodies. They do not have sex organs, okay? The karyogamy and the meiosis takes place in the basidium, producing 4 basidiospores. Examples are agaricus or puccinia. The characteristics include the club factory. They are also called the club factory. Include club fungi and 22,000 species. Their body is composed mostly of septate hyphae. They are also called club fungi because during the asexual reproduction they produce modified hyphae that resembles clubs and usually bear 4 spores. These modified clubs are called basidium, and the life cycles of Basidiomycetes are similar as those of Ascomycetes. Example, 2 notable species used by food as portabella mushroom or shiktek mushroom. Other examples of mushrooms include toadstools, bracket fungi, bird's nest fungi, puffballs, coral fungi, jelly fungi, smuts, and rust. One particularly common rust in our geographic area is the cedar apple rust that can often be seen growing on the cedar trees. The last group is the Deuteromycetes, and they are called the imperfect fungi because only the asexual vegetative phases of this fungi are known. We know only this. The Deuteromycetes reproduce only by asexual spores known as conidia, and some members are called saprophytes and parasites. However, a large number of them are decomposers of litter. They are very helpful in mineral cycling. Example, Alternaria, Coleotrichum, and Trichoderma. The characteristics include they are imperfect fungi because of this class only we know the asexual or vegetative phases, and they reproduce only by spores or conidia. Examples, as I told. The thallus organization is mostly mycelial or non-mycelial. The non-mycelial forms are unicellular. However, they may form a pseudomycelium by budding. In mycelial forms, the plant body is made up of thread-like structures called the hyphae. The mycelium may be septate or non-septate. Or in lower fungi, mycelium is non-septate Phycomycetes. In higher forms, it is septate or Ascomycetes, Basidiomycetes, and Deuteromycetes. In some forms, the plant body is unicell at one stage and mycelial at the other stage. Their organization is sometimes described as dimorphic, that is why. Specialized formation is the cell organization. The cell wall of the fungi is mainly made up of chitin and cellulose. The chitin is a polymer of N-acetyl glucosamine. On the other hand, the cellulose is nothing but a polymer of D-glucose. Besides, the cell wall may be made up of cellulose, glycogen, cellulose, chitin, or polygalactosamine galactan. Apart from this, precisely, the cell wall may be made up of cellulose, glucan, oomycetes present in, and chitin, chitosan, zycomycetes, mannan, glucan present in Ascomycotina, chitin, mannan present in the Basidiomycotina, or chitin, glucan present in the Basidiomycotina, Ascomycotina, and Deuteromycotina. The specialized formation in higher forms, the mycelium is organized into loosely and compactly evenly structure, which looks like a tissue called the parenchyma. Those are of two types, parenchyma and pseudoparenchyma. In addition to above, the fungal mycelium may form some specialized structure called rhizophores, sclerotina, and stroma. These are not so important, so you may also skip this. And the nutrition is very much important. The fungi are achlorous organisms, hence they cannot prepare their own food. They live as heterotrophs, that is as parasites and saprotypes. And some forms live symbiotically with the other green forms. Coming to this, the parasites. What are parasites? They obtain their food from a living host. The parasites may be obligate or facultative. The obligate parasites thrive on the living host throughout their life. The facultative parasites are in fact saprophytes, which have secondarily become parasitic. While above classification is based on the mode of nutrition, however, on the basis of their place, the occurrence on the host, the parasites can be classified as ectoparasite, endoparasite, and hemiendoparasite or hemiectoparasite. The saprophytes. What are saprophytes? They derive their food or nutrition from dead or decaying organic matter. The saprophytes may be obligate or facultative. An obligate saprophyte remains saprophytic throughout its life. On the other hand, a facultative saprophyte is in fact a parasite which has secondarily become saprophytic. At last, the symbionts. Some fungal forms grow in the symbiotic association with the green or the blue-green algae and constitute the lichen. Hence, the algal component is the photosynthetic and the fungal is the reproductive one. A few fungal forms grow in association with the roots of the higher plants. This association is called the mycorrhiza. They are of two types, ectotropic mycorrhiza and endotropic mycorrhiza, for example, VAM. The reproduction is of three types, vegetative, asexual, and sexual. The vegetative reproduction is by fragmentation, budding, and fission. As you can see, this is a form of budding, and fragmentation is nothing but some forms belonging to the Ascomycotina and Basidium multiply by the breakage of the mycelium. Budding forms multiply by the budding. A bud arises as in papilla on the parent cell, and they, after the enlargement, separates into a completely independent entity. The fission is a few unicell forms like yeast and fly molds multiply by this